In Thomas Reid's Inquiry into the Human Mind on the Principles of Common Sense, edited by Derek Brooks. We are in Chapter 2, Section 6. Reid says, having considered the relation with which the sensation of smelling bears to the resemblance and imagination of it, I proceed to consider what relation it bears to a mind, or sentient principle. It is certain no man can conceive or believe smelling to exist of itself without a mind, or something that has the power of smelling, of which it is called a sensation, an operation, or feeling. Yet if any man should demand a proof that sensation cannot be without a mind or sentient being, I confess that I can give none, and that to pretend to prove it seems to me almost as absurd as to deny it. This might have been said without any apology before the treatise of human nature appeared in the world, for till that time no man, as far as I know, ever thought either of calling in question that principle or of giving a reason for his belief of it. The ability to perceive requires a mind that can perceive. And this should be obvious, and it doesn't need to be proven. And it's ridiculous to object to it, and it's maybe as ridiculous as to try to prove it. Let's see. So sensation must have a mind to sense it. And although this is not strictly speaking provable, it doesn't need to be proven. It's just sort of obvious. And Hume, author of the Treatise of Human Nature, was foolish to doubt this. The idea of self now joins the other ideas that Reid has explained are necessary common sense principles just to understand how human perception works. So there's a lot going on in this book. He is, in this chapter, well, he's going to, for a number of pages, in 5 chapters, one for each of the 5 senses, taste, sight, smell, hearing, touch, going to give a philosophy of perception, explain how that sense works to the best of his ability, but also use it to illustrate how common sense works, and to give a better theory in epistemology, to give a better philosophy, a common sense philosophy. Something to replace the foolish, skeptical philosophy of the modern era that inaugurated by people like Descartes, Locke, and Malebranche, made worse by Berkeley, and completed in all its folly by David Hume. So, I think what we saw in the last video was that in just explaining how the sensation of smell works, Reid has explained that we human beings have sensations. We know we have sensations, and we know we have memories of the past. And those are 2 common sense principles. What I perceive, I really do perceive, and I have memory of the past. And the past existed. To believe the past existence of what we remember. To believe the present existence of our sensations, and to believe the past existence of what we remember. That was towards the end of section 5. Okay, so the past and our sensations. And these are common sense things. And now he's adding to this with the existence of the self. The idea of the self joins the idea of sensation and memory. Reid further explains that, well, let's rewind. The problem that leads to this skepticism is the problem of assuming that all we know is our own ideas. All we know is our own ideas. All we perceive is our own ideas. All we perceive is, well, in a word, our sensations. Reid thinks it's true that sensations are all we can directly know, but that doesn't mean we don't know. It doesn't mean we don't perceive the world outside the mind. Here's my teacup. I perceive the stupid thing. Now, strictly speaking, the sensation of the teacup in my hand, the feel of the warm, hard, smooth surface, the experience of seeing the blue and the white, those are things that only exist in my mind. But it is by means of them that I perceive the reality, the real, non-mental teacup. We do perceive the world by means of sensation, and the sensation is in the mind, and the world itself is not, and this is common sense. And these early modern philosophers did a service to philosophy, to the pursuit of wisdom, by recognizing that the sensation is a mental thing, and that's all we can directly access. But their mistake was to assume that we can only perceive and know that which we can directly access. If indeed all we know is ideas, now get back to the text. The next paragraph is going to elaborate on this criticism of Hume and this adding the existence of the self to the existence of sensations and of the past, adding sensation, memory, and now the self to our list of common sense principles. He is elaborating on this critique of Hume, and he's going to say, now this will be my paraphrase, I'm not reading directly from the text, ideas, if they are all we know, don't even leave room for the knower. And this is ridiculous. This is absurd. If all we actually know are ideas, then there's no room for us to even know about a knower of ideas, and the whole idea is very silly. A common sense philosophy can do better, and it's what we must have, but we haven't properly articulated it yet. Let's hope to do so as we continue moving through the text.